My dear students of Honors Part 4, you welcome to the class. I am Siddhartha Shankar, an assistant professor in English in Government Haroganga College, Munshiganj. Dear students, we are discussing imposters of Assist India, that is included in your course entitled 20th Century Novel. In my previous lectures, I have discussed the various important character of this novel, and today I am going to discuss the basic theme of this novel. So, dear students, this is a colonial literature that is discussed on the impact of colonization. And in this novel, you will find several conflict. Therefore, we can say that conflict is the basic tone or basic theme of this novel. Now, what type of conflict? Here you will find that clash of culture or conflict of culture, the culture of the Westerners with the culture of the East. So, therefore, the colonizer's culture and the culture of the colonized people are different. Here we find a great conflict between the culture of the colonizers and the culture of the natives. Therefore, we can say that the basic tone of this novel is the conflict. And here, not only the culture, beside you will find the conflict between the imperialists and the natives. Here the conflict of race, conflict of class. Here we will find different classes of people, and one class, the upper class, cannot have good relationship with the lower class or lower class people. Therefore, here we find the conflict of class also. And here we find that the conflict of religions, that is conflict between the religions. Here we find the Hindus, the Muslims, we find the Christians, that is the colonizers. So therefore the conflict between the Hindus and the Muslims is also a theme in this novel. And here we will find that collision or that conflict between the civilization. That the white people or the Western people think themselves civilized, and they consider other people uncivilized. So the motto of the Westerners is to civilize the uncivilized. So here this type of conflict is also evident. And here we find the conflict between communities, the conflict between groups, conflict between individuals, and here we find the separation between race to race, separation between sex from sex, and culture from culture. So what can we say in one word? If you are asked in the Bhaibabusi or in the short question, so what is the theme of this great novel? The answer is, the theme is conflict. The key note of this novel is conflict. You know that when the novel starts, we find some people, that Muslim people, including Hamidullah Aziz, they were discussing, is it possible to have friendship with the Britishers? The answer was no. So at the very beginning it is denied that the friendship or that good relationship between the colonizer and the colonized is not possible, it is impossible. And later that Breeze party was called, and in that party the target was to have that ice breaking session, or have to get that gathering was announced to have friendship among the natives and the colonizers. But the fact is that it was the British party was not successful. The British party was not successful. Why it was not successful? It is because that mm, in that party the Britishers were gossiping among themselves. The natives who went there, they were also in one corner, they were gossiping among themselves. Therefore there was no ice breaking session, or there was no opportunity of amalgamation. Therefore the relationship remained um, that rigid, that is no a good relationship was built up there in that British party. Even that one of the most important incident in the novel is the incident in the Malabar caves. I think this is the turning point in this novel and the most important part of this novel. In that incident, you find that Adela quested accused Aziz for molesting her, but from the description of the novel, we came to know that it is a complete hallucination, as the caves represents that primitivism, and the people who go there cannot retain their normal sense, so they go back to the primitive old, and therefore the hallucination was the fact that derived Adela to accuse Aziz. And in this incident, Aziz was brought under trial. And a lot of incident happened. All the Britishers except Fielding and Mrs. Moore was in favor of Aziz, and the other Indians, they heartily believed that yes, Aziz is accused, and he did he occurred that incident. That means he is responsible. But they were not neutral in their view. All the Britishers were in one side, and the other Indians, including Hindus, even the lower class people, middle class people, all the people were in favor of Aziz. In this case, they favored their country people. So here we find a great conflict, that is whether Aziz is responsible or not. That is not the fact, that is not in their consideration. They only consider that their nationalism, that means the people who are Britishers, they favor they think that Aziz is responsible, and the people in India, all the people irrespective of religion, believe that Aziz is not accused, Aziz is not responsible, or Aziz is not guilty. Therefore, here we also find a great conflict that arised after the after visiting Malabar caves. So, in this novel, we find that Aziz was finally relieved from the accusation. He was from the trial, and Adela quested. Adela quested gave verdict that Aziz was not guilty. It was he was not. She was not her normal sense in that time. But the Britishers didn't take it easily. They uh, still they thought that Aziz was responsible for that. And even after getting relief from the trial, the Indians, even Aziz, was not thankful to Adela, because Adela is not of their race. So therefore, the conflict between race is always evident, and it is the tone and the basic theme of this novel. So, dear students, from today's class, I wanted to give you that message that about the basic tone of this great novel, the basic theme of this great novel of Access to India. Hopefully, you got some information from today's class. In my next class, I will discuss on some other topic. I will discuss some other topic. Until then, you stay fine, and thanks for watching today's class.